I'm somewhere very exciting today. I'm at the Cactus and Succulent Society of New South Wales Autumn Show and Sales Day. Behind me, there are thousands of amazing plants being bought and sold, and there's some amazing plants on show as well. So I thought I'd just give you a bit of a tour, show you around, show you some of the absolutely spectacular plants that are on display, and maybe even follow up on some of the plants that I entered into the show myself. Don't know really where we're going to go from here, but what I do know is you're in for an absolute treat of some of the most incredible plants you can possibly imagine. So let's go check it out, shall we? Undoubtedly the highlight today are the incredible show plants that have been put on display. Essentially a competition between all the growers of New South Wales to see who's got the most impressive plants. And I can tell you what, just at a glance, there are some truly impressive specimen plants out there. Now, rather than just showing you these plants kind of aimlessly, I thought I'd add a bit of excitement to the journey. Everyone who enters this area of the show gets given one of these. I think it's a dried little chickpea, and there's a space in front of each plant. There's a little plastic shot glass, and what you can do, you put your little dried chickpea into the shot glass, and that signifies which is the people's favorite plant of the day. So today what I thought we would do is go and check out these plants and go on a hunt for what deserves our people's choice chickpea of the day. So let's go and have a look at some plants, and together we might figure out which one of these plants is going to get it. Now there's two sections in this space. We've got the novice categories, and then over the far side of the room we've got the open divisions. So let's start with the novices. It's where my plants have been entered, so we'll check in on those ones as well and hunt for the spectacular plant that's going to get this. Now I do have a bit of a criteria in mind, nothing too rigid, but what I'm really looking for is something weird, something obscure, something you don't often see on the benches here, and it has to be well grown, of course. If we can find that plant, that's how we're going to know that it gets the chickpea of the day. Now the first category that has really kind of caught my eye is this one. This is the haworthia and tulista category, which is essentially the form of hardleaf haworthias. Quite incredibly, I'm in love with this second prize winner here, this enormous mound of Haworthia viscosa, kind of globose in its growth form, so many offsets, it's quite stunning. And then this highly commended one here, which I'm not exactly sure what species it is. What is this? Can I see? No, don't know. But have a look at that stress colouring on the leaves as it emerges from that centre point. Immaculately grown as well. But the one that has most caught my eye, and interestingly enough hasn't won a prize, is this Haworthia pumila cultivar emperor. Have a look at those white bands on the leaves. It's immaculately grown, and it's a fantastic representation of what a bit of selective breeding can do with the patterns on a Haworthia's leaves. Outstanding plant. We'll keep it in mind as we continue with the video. And here we are at one of my favourite categories, as you would well know, caudex plants, so close to my heart. I dearly love these little fatties. Now, interestingly enough, of course, I have a plant entered in this category, my Pseudobombax ellipticum, and would you look at that? Taken home a highly commended prize. It makes me very, very excited, but the plants that beat it out are absolutely immaculate and very fat. Would you get a load of this amazing Phocea edulis? Enormous, absolutely enormous, and in a huge pot as well. Second prize went to this Dioscorea elephantipes, which is, what an absolutely stunning plant. And then a smaller and equally beautiful Dioscorea. I think this is a Dioscorea mexicana down here, but another immaculate plant. So it's really good to see. I don't mind losing out to plants that are stunningly well grown, and these are just fantastic examples of beautiful fat plants. None of them are probably obscure enough to quite tickle my fancy enough to claim this little bad boy, but I really do love looking at them, and I can't wait to see what the open section has in store in terms of caudiciforms as well. And would you look at that, right next to it, we've got the other succulents not mentioned category. And this is where my ant plant ended up. The Australian native category seemed to just disappear into thin air, but that's all right, because would you believe it? Hey, we took out first prize. How exciting is that? That's sensational. Very, very happy that we've done that. It's even had a few votes from people as their favourite plant in the show, which is pretty exciting. Now, there are some other beautiful plants though in this category. We've got some mangaves, a yucca, even an avonia, and a, I don't even know. But this is, I suppose, the space for all the real niche stuff that didn't really have a home. And don't they look lovely together? This is the aloe hybrid category. And I just wanted to stop and appreciate this, because the plant itself, to me, isn't necessarily the most remarkable thing. It's an aloe queen maroa. Never heard of the hybrid in my life. It's quite nice with these white and yellowy, greeny variegations and rows of red teeth. But what I want to point out here is the amazing combination of the plant and the pot. This pot's been made by Mark Martirez, who is the most insane pot creator, I would say, in Australia. You know, I can give you the hot tip right now. I may have splashed a few $100 on his pots while I've been here. Undoubtedly, we'll be seeing more of those in the future on the channel. But just look at how that flowing form of this aloe goes with the quite unique texture and the height of the pot. Absolutely immaculate staging, and it's a recognition of how beautifully shaped plants go well with contrasting pots. That rosette of the plant going with the more jagged rosette of the top of the pot. Stunning, absolutely stunning. There's a grotesque underappreciation of echiverias on my channel, but let's just stop and appreciate whatever this thing is for its absolutely grotesque leaf form, so covered in ridiculous warts and lumps and almost cancerous looking growth. It doesn't necessarily sound appealing to most people, I'm sure, but to me, this is an absolute sight to behold. Awarded second prize as well in the category, which is echeveria in a pot over 160 ml, which, you know, what a remarkable plant. What a remarkable plant. Undoubtedly, quite a lot of breeding has gone in to create a hybrid just like this, and behold its beauty, I suppose. And so we find ourselves at the clumping Euphorbia category, an absolute favourite, and you can see there's plenty here to digest. And this is where I can tell you that Euphorbia aeruginosa, option 3 in my video on staging these plants, ended up being the people's favourite. And not only was it the people's favourite, it took out first prize in the category, and it's claimed quite a few of those little guys as well. Wasn't without competition. There's another aeruginosa in the back there as well. But that combination of habitat staging and rocky pot, I reckon, is what got it over the line. Very happy with how this has gone. But there are some other amazing plants in this category too that we need to recognise. Euphorbia stellata, what an absolute stunner. Well, look at the flowers on this Euphorbia millii. I just can't get enough of it. And the thing that really excites me is that we've got some other plants that are being habitat staged here as well. It's so good to see habitat staging really come into its own amongst plant growers. Now, speaking of habitat staging, I want to just pause and spend a moment to reflect on this absolutely amazingly staged Gymnocalycium anitzii. Have a look at how well this has been presented. Not just the rocks, but you've got the clay, the crackling clay, and all these little offsets and seedlings all emerging from it. Now, I don't know if this is what a Gymnocalycium looks like out in the wild, but it sure convinces me this is an absolute masterpiece in terms of presentation. And, you know, this, on staging quality alone, may well be enough to claim my chickpea for the day. I'm not going to go ahead and do it just yet because there's a lot more plants to look at, but, oh, you know, this is taking my breath away. You know what, Ferro cactus, They're a plant that I don't think I've ever spoken about on my channel, but they deserve the love. How fantastic are the colours on these spines? Beautiful bright red, this one with a bit of fur in amongst it, and then you've got the fishhook cacti here, Variegated Herrerae, which is an absolutely immaculate thing. Honestly, these things can get absolutely massive, and so there's plenty of potential for growth amongst them, but even at this size, they're bigger than my fist and they're quite remarkable plants in their self. What's this? This is the first prize winner, and I can see why. Immaculately grown, absolutely stunning plant, quite remarkable. I brought 2 Haworthia to the show today, hoping to bring a bit of the joy of the genus to the people, and well, neither of them, neither the Haworthia versicolor nor the Haworthia tenuis have taken home a prize. But you know what? At least 2 people have enjoyed this guy. No drama at all, because some of the other plants in this tall growing cactus, other than those in the Espostoa, Cactus, Oreocereus categories, some of them are quite remarkable and noticeably bigger as well. Fantastic saguaro here is amongst them, so you know, my dinky little Haworthia versicolor shall go back and enjoy another day in the greenhouse. Probably loved just by me, I suppose. This is the section for variegated cacti, but amongst a bunch of pretty stock standard variegated bicolour crested Trichocereus and a few other bits and pieces that don't really grab my attention, there is this monstrosity. Now, it looks a bit like a Mammillaria boccasana Fred, but it's not. It's something else, I'm certain, because I've never seen a Fred with these variegated growths. This thing is ridiculous, absolutely revolting, and because of that, I'm in love with it. I need to find out what it is. I might track it down, track its owner down a bit later on and investigate. But whatever this thing is, it's got me confounded, both by its identity, but also the hideousness of its beauty. There's something quite charming about this, and you know me, I love mutants more than anything else in the whole world of succulents. This is a plant that really grabs me, I'm telling you what. And here we find ourselves at the any cactus not previously mentioned category. You can see my Haworthia tenuis hasn't received the judge's love, but it has attracted the attention of a few of the punters. However, that's totally okay, because have a look at some of these amazing peyote clumps. I really like this one in the asymmetrical pot. Quite a stunning presentation. But the winner is this Denmosa, the back. What an absolute gnarly beast that is. Look at those spines. I almost want to impale my hand on them just to see how massive and terrifying they are. I'm not going to do it. I'm not really that much of a masochist, but it's a plant to behold and a worthy winner. Quite stunning. And even this Euphorbia, beautifully delicate, quite little, but clearly stunningly grown. What a diverse and quite interesting category of plants. Now, if you're enjoying the weird and the wonderful plants that I'm sharing with you today, I implore you, hit subscribe and hit like. I release an episode of Arid every single week, so there's always strange and wonderful plants to behold. And if you really want to support us, I implore you, please consider check out our cool merch, like this hectic, scary cactus Arid t-shirt, and there's a Patreon as well. All the details are on the link on the screen. Check it out, and if not, that's okay too. But anyway, let's get back to looking at some weird plants. So that's the novice category under our belts. I couldn't look at every plant, of course, but now we're going to move into the opens category. And this is where the really experienced growers place their plants. Already looking behind me, I can see there are some ridiculous plants on offer today. So let's check them out. Let's start our journey into the open plants in the copiapoa category. 2 absolutely stunning and very old copiapoa cinereas, and you can tell they're old not just from the corking on the base, but that white farina that is starting to develop. Very hard to attain anything like a habitat quality farina in cultivation, but these two are doing a pretty remarkable job, and that requires a lot of care and a lot of time to achieve. They're absolutely beautiful plants. I think of the two, maybe I prefer this solitary stem here with the darker spines, a little bit more contrast, but both of them are immaculate specimens. And then there's this cute little copiapoa atacamensis as well in the front with some real thick spines as well. Probably not quite as remarkable as the other two, but you know, clearly beautifully grown plants all around. So here we are at the open section, Ferrocactus, echinocactus and Leuchtenbergia section. And you can just look at these plants and see that they're a step above. First prize has gone to this echinocactus horizontaloneus, which not only is it quite beautiful, and I know these are very slow growing plants, but fantastically it's got this clump of old flowers and it looks like potentially even seed pods on the top, which is just a lovely little detail in the grand scheme of things. But then look at this Ferrocactus glaucescens in the back. This is an inermis plant. Inermis is a kind of word that represents a lack of spines. If you see an inermis cactus, it's a cultivar. It's been grown spineless. They haven't been removed. They've been bred out of the plant or emerged through some kind of random mutation. As you can imagine, cacti that are typically heavily spined that grow without them come in some quite remarkable forms. It brings out the amazing geometry of the plants, and this is such a big specimen, it doesn't surprise me that it's gone home with a prize today. Remarkable plant, and the others here, they're just as stunning as well. Now this is the Thelocactus category, and I don't know much about Thelocactus, but I do know plants that I like when I see them, and I love this. This thing is clearly ancient. Even the potting soil just looks like it's a hardened crust from decades of neglect. Have a look at that tuft of wool on the top from which there are these thick, heavy black spines emerging, and the delicate kind of blue-green epidermis of the plant. This is a plant that has been loved for many, many years. Now, I don't know my Thelocactus well. I would love to know what species this is. If you have an idea, can you let me know in the comments? Because I'd love to track one of these down for myself. This may well be the winner of the chickpea of the day. I'm very excited. It's already got 3. Will we add mine to the list? Maybe. Let's see. Plants generally need chlorophyll to grow. That's the green tissue that photosynthesizes. Here in the variegated cactus section, we've got this Gymnocalycium mihanovicii, which somehow clings to life with the barest patch of green tissue. I don't know how this thing is still alive. Maybe it's just recently been degrafted or something, but whoever's been growing this sure knows a thing about caring for plants, because this thing would barely be producing any energy. It must grow so slow. Anyway, fantastic plant, insane. We're in the aloe species category here, moving away from the wonderful world of succulents. And there's a few plants here that have really caught my eye. The first is this one. It's a variety of Aloe humilis, and again it's got those wonderful naturally occurring variegated stripes with some fairly vicious teeth along the leaf margins. But the plant that really caught my eye is this one here. This is Aloe pearsonii. Now this is a South African aloe and very rare in cultivation. It grows with this almost upright form with these thick fleshy leaves. Quite endangered in the wild, and well, the growth form of it makes it remarkably unique, especially compared to many of the shrubbier aloes. When you see them in full growth, full mature growth, they're a plant really to behold. And I've never seen one in Australia before. I've certainly never seen one on the plant benches before. So if we're looking for that criteria of obscurity, this may well be the plant that takes it out today. Now I know that there's a lot of interest in lithops amongst the viewers of this channel, and it would be neglectful of me not to show you the open category lithops plants. These things are stunning. absolutely amazing. You've got plants like lithops optica rubra, these bright red ones, which given enough light take on this deep, almost purplish colour. We've got some green Leslieis, we've got another greenish Olivaceae, and overall you can just see remarkable plants. But the thing that's most remarkable about these plants is their age. Lithops, in time, their leaves will split, and occasionally, every few years, they'll reveal a pair of leaves inside. Now, for that to happen so many times suggests that these plants are at least decades old. And as well you can imagine, lithops growing at the best of time is a difficult proposition. So the fact that these plants have been raised not only to such a beautiful standard, but such an old age reveals masterful care of these plants. Absolutely amazing. The key to this man's heart, though, as you know, are the caudex plants, and we're starting to dip into them. Here we're at the Pachypodium, Adenium or Plumeria category, and well, we've got some beautiful adeniums here with these thick fat bases, but it's Pachypodium namaquanum that truly grabs my attention. As you know, South African plant, winter growing, grows in the Makwa land, and this is quite a beautiful and obviously quite old specimen. There's a bigger one though on another bench that's won a more major prize, and I'll share that one with you before we get to the end of the video. Caudiciform euphorbias are a marvel to behold. This one here, this is a monodenium, Monodenium rubellum, and those trailing vines and these beautiful delicate pink flowers kind of belie what lurks beneath this gnarled, twisted caudex. Stunning plants, it's so nice to see them here. And also this Euphorbia decarii, which has been trained in an almost upright, surprising form. This usually sprawls across the ground. So it's a bit of fun to see people playing with how they present their plants. And here we are at the caudex plant not previously mentioned, open category, and the winner, Adenia kirkii. I love Adenia kirkii. It's one of the all-time great vining plants. It's from Eastern Africa, has a beautiful thick tuberous base, and the leaves on these vines are the most delicate and wonderful variegation. They're really quite stunning. They're also quite incredibly toxic. Don't want to eat this bad boy, I tell you what. But as far as this plant goes, very well worthy winner, and certainly something that I may well award the chickpea of the day. How good is that? There are some other beautiful plants here too. I won't pay too much attention to these two Cyphostemma utas, but the Dioscorias behind them, also remarkably stunning. Oh, and a Bursera. How nice. I love Burseras as well. But it is here that the real champions of the show can be seen. Champion cactus. Have a look at this Areocarpus. It's absolutely amazing. Clearly many, many decades old and grown with care and precision. Kind of in awe just looking at this first person. But I present to you Big Daddy Pachypodium namaquanum. What an absolute beast, and also very clearly decades and decades old. These plants take so long to grow, I can't stress to you how slow they are. They're painful, painfully slow. So to get something this big takes a lot of time, care and know-how. Very well deserving of the Open Succulent Award. There are also some beautiful other plants here. We've got a lovely, what's that, variegated something, variegated ferrocactus, and a variegated agave snaggletooth. I don't know anything about agave cultivars, but they're also quite stunning as well, and a few other bits and pieces. So really, these are the best in the show. None of them are getting my chickpea though. Let's go place this. Let's go find where we're headed, because that's what I'm excited about. But before we do, I think it's really well worth considering the significance of your local cactus society. They exist all over the world, and if you don't know them, look them up. They're a fantastic place, not only to get your hands on some plants that you've never even seen before, but they're just wonderful places to connect with like-minded freaks who love these wonderfully weird plants. I've spent my whole day just chatting with people who have the same passion for these bizarre little botanical wonders as I do and as you do. It's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I really strongly recommend that you go and look up your local branch, see what they're doing, and don't be turned off. Don't think that it's just for old people. They're not. There are so many up and coming, young, enthusiastic, or just middle-aged like me, people who are a part of these things. Well worth checking it out. And if I haven't convinced you, I'm gonna have a quick word with the president of the Cactus and Succulent Society of New South Wales. Let's see what she has to say about the issue. Why should people join their local society?
First and foremost, camaraderie, fellowship. Most exciting part of joining the cactus and succulent world. I've had the privilege to meet amazing Kelly Griffin, aloe hybridizer. I've literally just come back from San Diego from their convention, getting to travel the world and see plants, but most of all, getting together and having an amazing day.
Awesome, how good. We're back here, back at the Novice section. Yes, I know that seems unlikely. And I know that I said that I was going to reward obscure and strange things, but I can't go past habitat staging. So I'm back here at that Gymnocalycium anitzii, which is the most beautifully staged plant I've ever seen. Whether it's the understatement of the bonsai pot to the amazing crackling of the clay topsoil, it just speaks to me. And so now, the chickpea of the day, only one other has voted for it. An absolute travesty. That's not going to stop me. There we go.